Okay, so this has probably been our most requested video I've had on my TikTok account and stuff. Probably had a few hundred comments of people asking for this. So I'm finally gonna do a car tour. I'm gonna go through as much as I can remember to do. Probably forget some stuff, but that'll be all right. This way. So we start over here, like our living room kind of thing. We obviously have just a cheap table, nothing too crazy. We have a chair each. Lauren has a Dometic one and I just have one from Bunnings or something like that with a little esky in the arm. They're both pretty good. They pack up nice and small. And then around here, so this is our little ensuite thing. So in there, there's the shower set up. It's not set up right now, but that's where the water comes out. And then this half here, we can use as like a dry room. Or if we really want, we can put the toilet in here, which we haven't had to use that yet. There's like a towel rack and a laundry bag and stuff like that, but we're not gonna talk about this too much. And then down there is the hot tap, which is what powers it. Just instant gas hot water system. So then we have this awning here, which is a 180-degree one. Kind of small, but we like it because it means it doesn't take up too much space, like when it's packed away. It's nice and small just over the cab. It's by Dutch. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's made for like Suzuki Jimneys and like smaller four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive kind of thing. You can see one of our solar panels up here. So yeah, one of our solar panels up here, that one is I think 110 watts. And then we have another one which we just brought the other day, which was 140 watts. We'll come back to the kitchen in a second. So then coming into the back here, we have our canopy, which is made by WAU. In Perth, they don't ship, so don't message them and ask. Here we have air compressor out, and then also our water fitting, which we can also unscrew this, and that's what we use if we're filling up at like a place that does caravan park water or whatever. You normally need one of them. And then on the tailgate, we have where the dual curve mount, and we can actually use it on the tailgate, but we don't use it on the tailgate that much because we normally leave this down for bench space. In here, I'll just rattle off a few things that we have. So we have this our dish bucket at the moment. We have a little toolkit. We have my tackle bag. We have a little tool bag with a reciprocating saw and a little vacuum, all just Ryobi stuff. Then we have a proper toolbox. We have our Julka sink, which we haven't used too much yet, but it is really handy, and there will be a time I'm sure where we'll use it. But apart from that, it's just a really good storage box. In there we have an oven. There's a spot for the paddleboard, which folds up into the backpack. Then we have the fishing rack here. We have just two 10-litre jerry cans as well. They are full at the moment because we're on a pretty big truck at the moment. And then over here is the brains of the whole thing. It's got the Adventurer by Enerdrive. It's got everything that you need in it for a dual battery system. So it comes as like this prefabbed unit, which has a DC to DC charger, a 3-stage charger, so like an AC to DC, so you can hook up to shore power and charge the battery. It has a 2000 watt inverter, has these USBs here, which are just super handy. Has this Cymarine screen, which shows you all the stuff you need, shows you loads out and charge coming in. Has like the degrees in the electrical cabinet, barograph. Haven't used it yet, but apparently it's good for fishing or whatever, and weather. And then just your home screen. These switches here, we only have 3 wired up at the moment. We have the compressor, we have the light, and then we have the water pump. There's these auto breakers here, which are, I don't think they've ever tripped, but you can press them to reset if something isn't working or glitching out a little bit. And then there's also proper breakers down there, which you can't see. And there is a breaker for the inverter here and the power point over in the kitchen. We've got it set up at the moment, so if we're at a caravan park or wherever we have shore power, we can plug in, and then that will overwrite the induction cooktop and charge the battery and run everything else all at the same time, which is pretty cool, really handy. So it just makes us like a little bit of a caravan kind of thing. We have a 200 amp hour lithium battery, which is also by Enerdrive. Lithium, obviously. We have the 2 drawers here. They're just by XTM, which is the BCF brand. We were on a bit of a budget at the end, and we just got them, I think it was 800 bucks for the 2. They do a good enough job. There's a few things that really annoy me about them, but they're fine. So in this drawer here, we have our pots and pans, graters, plates, bowls, cups, some bug spray, a sushi maker, very essential, and then soap, little speaker, I don't even know what else, little cleaning cloths, our washing machine, and that's it. I also forgot to mention before, there is a toilet in the back here. Here we have our random stuff like our washing mitt, because sometimes you have to wash the car, some extra tie down ropes, drill, wall for the canopy, recovery gear, obviously never used, some fire lighters, mosquito net, first aid kit, and some other little bits and pieces for stuff that we need to fix on the car while we're figuring stuff out. And then now we'll go over to the rooftop tent. Cool, so then we have our rooftop tent. which is the Armourdillo from Bushbuck. It does us pretty well. The reason I like it so much is it is a fold out one. So on the canopy, it looks nice and small. It's not too bulky. It's got the metal shell still. A lot of the ones that fold out like this have like the canvas bag, and you can't put a solar panel, or eventually if we wanted to put a roof rack on there for like a longboard or something like that, we could. It's got this rain fly here, which works really well. No water gets in at all. It has a skylight and stuff, but I'll show you that up there. Got a built-in light down here and inside the tent. It's got plenty of room, I think about 2 meters of sleeping space, and it probably takes us, what, like a minute to set up and quicker to pack away because there's less steps when you're setting it up. Down here, you'll see these 2 cords. These are just USBs. I just put USB extensions on there, and when I'm packing it away, I can just tuck them into a little Velcro pouch that's on the outside. We use one to run the fan and the other one's to run the lights for the tent. We did used to just throw it out down every time, and it got really annoying, so we just wired these up there, and then they're just females on the end, so we can plug in our phones and stuff if we want to, and they just plug into those USBs on the Enerdrive down there. And then on each side there's these 2 bags. This one here has a shiwi, has some baby wiping your feet if you can't be bothered having a shower at night. It's good to clean yourself up. There's some earplugs, and then sometimes we just chuck a drink bottle or whatever there. Then this one here is for our shoes. It's got like little drainage in the bottom, so if your shoes are a bit wet or whatever, it can drip out and doesn't get stinky. And that's it for the rooftop tent. Cool, so then here we have the rocker bar from MCC. Does the job just for a bit of extra protection and helped with our approach angle a little bit. Gave us a little bit of extra clearance on the tires. Then we have this UHF here from Uniden. Don't know if it's good or not. We've only used it a few times, but better to have it than not have one. It's like wired up under the cup holder in the car with just the little plug-in Ethernet cable thing. So there's no box anywhere, and it's all controlled on the hand unit. And we also have a walkie-talkie, so if Lauren needs to go walk down the track, she can. Then on the roof, we have the surfboard, which underneath we normally put the stand-up paddleboard. We just put the oar and stuff in the bag that's inside the canopy. So normally the stand-up paddleboard is just under that surfboard bag. And then next to that, you can see the max tracks, which partially hold down the solar panel, which is on a folding arm, so we can fold it up and get it underneath. We have some stuff that we're actually going to put under the solar panel because it's just kind of wasted storage. And then, there's another one of these bull bars on the back. And then we also have a stainless steel snorkel. We already did 3 river crossings just to get to where we are now.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
So it's come in handy. Not that the river crossings were super high, but you'd rather be safe than sorry, because the air intake on the BT50 is literally right here. So it's in like a pretty shocking spot. And then now we're going to the kitchen. So then we have the best part of the build, in my opinion, the kitchen. We're cooking on an induction cooktop. There's 2 hobs, I think that's what you call them, 2 cookers. You do need to have induction compatible cooktops, which can be annoying because there's also electric and then there's induction, and they're different apparently. They both run over 1,000 watts, which is like almost too hot. I feel like it's like way higher than high on a normal pan, like for a gas cooker. But we normally just run them at like 800-ish. And it does really well. We've had this now for 2 years, not in this setup, but it's been changing and it's not missed a beat yet. It does make an annoying beep noise when you lift the pan off because it knows that there's no longer a current going. But yeah, that works really well. It does draw a fair bit of power, but it is what it is. And then we have our most used cooking item on this trip, our little sandwich maker. It's just a cheap, shitty one from Kmart. It doesn't use that much power at all. We have our coffee machine. It's an espresso one, but it's called like an espresso mini or something like that. And it's just small, does just as good coffee as any pod machine. They're all kind of average. Kidding, no, that's fine. And then the milk frother, that doesn't live there. We normally chuck it in here so it doesn't bounce around. Up here we have Ziploc bags, foil, Glad wrap, bin bags, all that kind of stuff that you need handy, but don't really want to have to go into the drawers in the canopy every time you want to do that. And pretty much everything that we keep in here is either in a Tupperware container or is like canned or in a box, just because it does get a little bit dusty. Paper towel. We have a little light here, which just magnets up onto the rooftop tent. Rice, naan bread, spices, more rice, kind of canned goods. And then the paper towel just sits right here. And it's like the perfect little paper towel dispenser. We didn't have to put any screws in anything. And then to close it up, just close it like that. This was a bit of an essential part for me because I hate opening the tailgate every time we want to cook. So now we have our cutlery here. But yeah, so we've got all our spatulas, random stuff, knife, good knives and stuff are in the wash bucket. So that's why it's looking a bit empty. And then, yeah, it closes like that. And then we didn't put locking sliders on here. And then while we're here, I'll talk about our bin. Underrated item, but it's a fully zipping closed bin, which when you're with as many flies and ants and dingoes and other stuff, kangaroos like to try steal it as well. A zipping bag is massive, just because if you leave it out and go for a walk and forget to put it away, you don't have to worry about anything getting in there. Now we're gonna look at the pantry. Cool, so then here we have what we just call the pantry. Here there's some storage space, might be a bit hard to see on the camera. There's just 3 shelves, pretty big, fit a lot of stuff in there. Here is just some of Lauren's random stuff. And then the fridge. You're probably thinking why Kings, but it's got the sea coupe compressor, I think it's called, which is the same as what's in the Bushman. So it theoretically should be just as good. You can see it's pretty packed at the moment. It does actually get really hot in the car. So we're gonna work on a few ways to try and cool that down. And then here we have our extremely well organized closet, kind of just shoved in there at the moment. We haven't done washing for a week. So that's why it's looking like this, because everything needs to be pulled out and washed. And then we generally do a bit of a restack. But you can see t-shirts for me, shorts and random stuff like hoodies and stuff like that. And then down there is meant to be a packing cube, but it's just being shoved in at the moment. Then up here we have my camera stuff that just kind of chills there. It likes to always fall down, so I might put a bungee rope there as well. But this does pretty good for the moment. And then Lauren's favorite part of the entire build is this bit, this seat organizer. Well, it's just seat storage. Kids and stuff normally use them for iPads and games, but Lauren's turned hers into her beauty section. It's just a toiletries holder, so it's got all her stuff, all her shampoo. It does a good job. It means it's not in a big bag that takes up any room. It's just on a spot that you wouldn't use anyway. So yeah, that's a wrap of our car tour, or our home on wheels as we like to call it. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them down below, because I will respond to them all on here. We don't get very many views, so if you share this video or subscribe, that would help a lot. That's the end of the video. I'm so f***ing awkward.